It's going to be presented during the next half hour by Dr. Christina Schmidt-Holtmann from Germany's Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy, and also, of course, Jann Wendt of North IO. We hope there'll be some time for some questions at the end of that. So without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can see and hear me. And thanks a lot, first of all, for having me and inviting me today. As I've already been presented, I'm the head of unit for artificial AI and ecosystems in the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs in Germany. And I'm now honored to give you a brief overview on the project Gaia-X. And well, the main question will be, what has Gaia-X to do with Marispace-X that Jann Wendt will present to you? Well, it's one of our use cases, how we call it, where you can see how important it is to have a data ecosystem to get along in industries with data and to get the benefits of it. So I have now, let's say, like 10 minutes to give you a brief overview on Gaia-X, and then I will hand over to Jann to show you the Marispace-X use case in detail. So what is Gaia-X about? It's all about to enable a secure, open, and sovereign use of data. And this way, self-determined decisions can be made on how and where data is stored, processed and used within the data infrastructure. So if you hear this, many people think that Gaia-X is about building up a own or a new cloud. That's not. So what we did, our minister, Peter Altmaier, he had a lot of thoughts when he started in the ministry 4 years ago, and in 2019 he initiated the project Gaia-X. That's now a really true European project where we do have a lot of partners all around Europe, but also on a global level. So Gaia-X is facing, or the answer of some challenges that we are facing now in the digital age, and especially in the age of cloud services. So you all know we are going away from data storing on premise, but heading to the cloud age, and at least for Germany, but to be honest, also in whole Europe, especially SMEs, but also research institutions still are, somehow they still lack of trust to give their data into the cloud, to the cloud providers. So they do miss really a lot of competition in respect to competitors around the world. There is a feeling of unsafetyness because they don't know what will happen with the data when it's in the cloud. So it's a really cloudy name. And so the idea or the challenges that we are facing in this age is really to have an attractive offer for SMEs, but also for big businesses around all the industry sectors to bring the data into the cloud, to have new business ideas and services, to exchange data and to build new services on those data, but still also to have the possibility to say what should happen with the data, who can share the data, and who can use the data, and also for which price. So the main idea of Gaia-X is building up a trusted sovereign digital infrastructure for Europe. It's not only about the infrastructure layer, it's also about the data layer. So what we are aiming for is increasing transparency around infrastructure service providers and also on data services. So the idea is really to build up decentralized networks of all the providers that are in conformity with the rules of Gaia-X, of this framework. And so users will have the chance to switch from one provider to the other, to allocate those services, and then really to build up data spaces in the different sectors. So the idea of breaking up silos in the different sectors, or even in businesses, that's the whole idea of Gaia-X. And so to enable really smart services, AI services, big data services, to have some added value on digital products. What's really key is that we keep the digital, the data sovereignty. So what do we understand when we talk about data sovereignty? As the transparency for the user of the data, or for the owner of the data, what will happen with the data, and where he can share it and with whom he can share it. So that's how we understand sovereignty. And the whole concept of Gaia-X is based on European values and on common rules to build up this ecosystem. If you're looking at the X in the middle of the presentation of the slide, you see that's somehow the core of Gaia-X. We call it the Federation Services, where, for example, it consists of a catalog where all those services can be elected and selected by the users, and also the common set of rules and standards that will guarantee the European protection law, for example, and a high standard of data security. So we are convinced that Gaia-X will add value to the European digital economy if we can build up those data ecosystem and build up those data spaces in the different sector. This idea we share with the EU Commission that has set up the data strategy 1 year ago, and is aiming also in different sectors for building up those data spaces. They will give a lot of and spend a lot of money in different calls building up those data spaces. But member states decided with their own public money also to support the Gaia-X data ecosystem. And well, at least I can say for Germany, we have already launched a competition, a funding competition to support the building up of data spaces and to really show the added value of those use cases. And that will you see now for Marispace-X that will be presented by Jann Wendt. Other countries, for example, France, Italy, will follow with other competitions, funding competition in their country. And the momentum of the resilience funds that was spent by the European Commission and is now being where member states now start to raise 20% of the money they give to digital projects will be a great opportunity for all of us in Europe to really advance those in the digital area and to support use cases as Marispace-X is one. So I'm now happy to hand over to Jann Wendt, who will give you a brief overview on what Marispace-X is all about. Thanks for having me once again.
Dear Christina, thank you. Thank you very, very much for the nice presentation and the introduction into actually also the size of Gaia-X. So it's really a European initiative with really some huge momentum, what I think. And this momentum is also created by the funding of use cases. So I would like to introduce you now into Marispace-X, which has the goal of the digitalization of the blue economy. The funding competition, we just heard already about it. The Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs released on the 15th of May a competition with a total budget of 180 million euros. So really substantial money to bring up project ideas. There were 130 project applications from industry, science, the public sector. So there was really a high competition. There was a high drive to go into this field of Gaia-X from all different kinds of domains. In total, 16 projects are funded, are the winner of this competition. In 2021, it will be 11, and 2022, there will be 5 additional ones coming. And Marispace-X is one of the winners. So Marispace has a total volume of costs of 15 million euros. So a really, really substantial amount of money. And it really makes it to the largest maritime digitalization project with a mostly industrial focus in Europe. Project start will be on the 1st of January in 2022. So what's the partnership? To give you a bit of background, Marispace consists of partners, associated partners, and maritime stakeholders. So here you can see actually on the right side the direct involved project partners. So IONOS, the one-on-one telecommunication company here in Germany, and also the biggest cloud provider of Europe, is officially in the lead for the project. The coordination and the initiative for this project was done by North.io, by ourselves. We have indeed involved other partners. There's the Fraunhofer Institute, IGD, from Rostock, with their whole ocean technology campus. We have Stackable, it's a small big data company, True Ocean, which is also present here and also presented yesterday, is involved. We have for sure, when it's about maritime digitalization, the GeoMar Institute, McArtney, a system integrator of underwater technology, the University of Kiel with 7 professorships, so 7 working groups, and the University of Rostock. So in total, we have 9 project partners with industry and academia, but with an extreme intense focus on application. We don't want to build the next research platform here. It's really about bringing the whole data system for industry and making it available. Therefore, we also integrated quite some associated partners. So at the moment, we're talking about 25 associated partners and some really big guys. So Siemens Gamesa, one of the biggest renewable energy or biggest producers of wind turbines, offshore wind turbines. We have Ørsted on board, I think the biggest company which is actually running wind parks, offshore wind parks all over the world. QPS, a processing specialist of maritime data. ThyssenKrupp is involved, and we have Atlas Electronic involved, the Hamburg Port Authority. We have our Federal Hydrographic Office involved. We have KUM, so it's a really, really long list of extremely strong partners who are going with us into the topic of maritime data and the maritime data ecosystem. In addition, we have several maritime stakeholders, so See Ahead, so an incubator from the United States. We have colleagues, IPT, for example, from Brazil. We have SINTEF, so the Norwegian research institution, the Ocean Data Alliance, but also local partners here, Maritime Cluster, Transmartec, GMT, and IHK. So what's the idea of Marispace, the value proposition? So Marispace has the goal to accelerate the digitalization of the blue economy. The target group is all maritime stakeholders, so ranging from industry over science, public services, also the military, but that's the difference, it's clearly business-driven in this case. The social economic benefits of the project, we would like to contribute to the European Union goals, digital sovereignty and sustainability. Also, social and economic benefits, the idea of new digital business models, which are emerging from this ecosystem, like more advanced technologies like federated algorithms about processing, federated artificial intelligence. The whole idea is, with this kind of digitalization, to accelerate the growth of the European blue economy, and also for sure to create some kind of high-tech jobs and transfer of knowledge from science to industrial practice. What are the benefits for the user? The efficiency increase and cost reductions in data-driven processes. Data-driven processes are expensive and they will get more expensive over time, so it's clearly the goal to be better, to be more efficient. We would like to avoid vendor logins and be compliant with data protection and information security. It's one of the big goals of Gaia-X to enable security, to enable data protection, data sovereignty. The idea is being cross-industry, bundling these cross-industry domains and making data available, share data, not keeping them in silos, but making it available. I have no idea how often the Baltic Sea was already measured by different kinds of institutions, and data is available, and it's done still again. Yeah, and using the economies of scale, so using cloud technologies across applications to scale the whole idea of digitalization. We have 4 concrete use cases, and that's for sure why we are here. Munition in the Sea is one of the concrete use cases of this technology. The first one is Internet of Underwater Things in very, very close cooperation with the Fraunhofer Ocean Technology Center. We have offshore wind. You saw we have some of the big players from the offshore wind industry, munition in the sea, and biological climate protection. And I would like to tell you a little bit about the different use cases. So the Internet of Underwater Things, there's the idea to create a feasibility study, how to integrate the Ocean Technology Campus in Rostock, the test field, into the Gaia-X framework. So it's mostly on the study side, but we also will do experimental advancing of these IO, so-called UT things, so Internet of Underwater Things. The idea is here in this context to enable sensor technology to capture really the digital twin of the underworld world in the real time, and we have a perfect use case example here with the Ocean Technology Center because it's fully equipped with sensor technology. And developing the Gaia-X compatible structures around the whole process of acquisition and processing. How do I get data from this in future autonomous vehicles in a smart and fast and efficient way under trust and security from the edge, from the sensor into the cloud? Do I need to bring every data piece into the cloud? Can I do some pre-processing to reduce the data? That will be all investigated in this case. The second heavily industry-driven process or project and use case is the offshore wind use case. We have to go to net zero, that's clear, so we have to develop solutions for smarter solutions for collaboration, for management, and for smart asset handling. This means our goals here, data-driven processes, generate trustworthy data spaces for companies, for projects, for enable an efficiency in collaboration and making just the whole process of wind farm generation smarter. So it will be collaborative development of different kinds of tools to have really the entire process chain, starting from the planning of a wind park until the decommissioning. And this really means to give some kind of data spaces to store, manage, and analyze data for whole projects over a full lifetime. Here in wind industry, for example, 25 years plus, and to facilitate the exchange of data between the subcontractors, the contractors, and everyone involved. Munition in the sea, I think about the case, I don't have to tell you too much, 1.6 million tons for sure. But also there, what we saw maybe in the presentation before that we had in the detection and identification panel, the improvements in the part of analysis and management of data is also increasing. So we also have to think about the whole topic about cloud, edge, fog computing, how to manage these big data sets. So it means here in this case, transfer these novel, intelligent analytical approaches which we heard about, into a really secure and scalable cloud environment under the Gaia-X umbrella. And it means also, because it's a for sure sensitive domain, to be compliant with the identity and trust services. And this is something very, very important. We need some safe rooms to exchange data between industry and between public domain, between also the military. And this is what the whole Gaia-X ecosystem will bring, and we will transfer these ideas into the maritime domain. And the fourth use case, it's actually biological climate protection. So it's simply about the case that ocean plants have very, very high CO2 storage capacities. And here we would like to get a better understanding about the quantification of this. So we want to identify, quantify, and optimize the potentials of CO2 storage capacities of the oceans, and specifically seagrass. It's more a research-oriented use case with some future usage. It's the idea of creating some novel methods for sensor fusion, so combining optical remote sensing from satellite data and underwater acoustic data in the nearshore environment to trace actually the possibilities where to replant, for example, seaweed as a CO2 sink in the future. And also the application of AI-based predictors of other type of macrophytes that are CO2 saving organisms. Yeah, some other tasks that we will deal with, as you maybe saw, we have really some of the big industry players. We also have with the QPS one of the main data acquisition and specialists and processing specialists. And our idea is there to develop a new standard, a new maritime cloud native data format that will be used for more efficient analysis. So the idea of this data format is being scalable. So for this future maritime data analytics, we need new ways of data handling. That's why we also need new formats. It's fully industry driven. So together with the specialists from our associated partners like QPS and Ørsted and their specific needs, we will work on this format specifications. And it will be open. So everyone is hardly involved to work with us together on this format specifications for this different cloud-native options. Yeah, and we are still open for associated partners. The project will begin in the 1st of January 2022. And there is the chance to join us, to be involved in this Marispace-X project. It's really going to be a big, big project. And yeah, if you are interested, feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Let me see, we'll get my microphone going again here. We'll be doing just great. So anyway, thanks. I don't know if we have time for a question here. I mean, we do have 5 minutes until the next part begins. So perhaps if a question has emerged, I mean, I can't imagine there aren't questions about what you just told us. It's vastly complex, and it raises tons of questions regarding, since we're here in Germany, data protection, for example, and also the proprietary nature. You're talking about developing a whole new data format for saving this material that make it easier to deal with. Would that data format be something that others would be able to use as well?
Definitely, that's the goal. I mean, the idea of Marispace is to create some kind of open maritime data space where everyone can contribute, where everyone can create new business models. So if you have the most advanced algorithm for munition detection, you can actually bring it into this ecosystem and actually sell it also. So it's really some kind of an open industrial idea to leverage the options that cloud technologies that Gaia-X is giving us. And the same is actually for this format specification. The more people are dealing with this, the more people are intensively working on this format specification, the better it is to get it to some kind of a standard process.
And just from what you showed us, there are partners involved in this that are from not just academic institutions or research laboratories, but quite a number of startups, large companies. There's government involvement. Obviously, we just saw also at the federal level. How is that cooperation working on this in this effort?
Yeah, it will be very, very interesting how we will make this run in the most efficient and smart way. Until now, it was mostly about the writing of the project proposal, finishing the formula applications. But we already get in a nice exchange. And I think today with our online meetings, there's more options to also bring this kind of large idea really to life. And what's interesting, also the big partners, the small partners, they all believe in this project. So they are really willing to bring people in this, even if they are not funded by this project, because they see the need for this kind of data exchange possibilities. They see the need for being efficient with big data, and they see that this needs some kind of cooperative effort to make this work.
Fascinating. I do see one gentleman with the microphone back there.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm Edmund Meiser from Kiel University. Jann, thank you for this fascinating view on the near future and the digitalization. So it's really very impressive. And I understand that it's economically driven, the Gaia space and Marispace. So my question is, in how far the, let's say, environmental data, okay, toxicological data, could find the way into this platform and to be used then, because all these aspects on environmental sciences are also important for considering any commercial issues, I think.
Yeah, it's out of question that environmental data will play a key role also in the Marispace-X world. Simply already we bring AMUCAT into the Gaia-X world, so there will be lots of environmental data already from the munition perspective involved. But environmental data in this context, single measurements are not really considered as big data, so the focus here is really on the really big physical data, but environmental data will be definitely involved in the platform, in the exchange as well. So don't see it really Marispace as a platform. It's some kind of room for exchange, for data exchange, for data analytics and new business models. It's not that it's some kind of closed project job. You can just, in the end, plug in your data into this kind of universe if your data is Gaia-X conform.
Thank you. Any questions coming in online with this? Okay, fine. Then I would just thank both of our speakers for this session. I'm amazed what all you're involved in, and yeah, I mean we're getting some insights into this universe, which is absolutely fascinating. Anyway, thank you so much, Jann Wendt. Thank you also, Christina Schmidt-Holtmann. In case you're still listening, one more round of applause for both of you.